Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Growth Execution Podcast. We're here every week to bring you hints, tips, tricks, insights from entrepreneurs who've been where you are. Delighted to be joined this week by Caleb Roche of CRoche Consulting. Hey, Caleb, how you doing?
Good, Mel. How are you?
Oh, really good, thank you. So good. It's great to catch up. Really appreciate you making time, of course. Wondered, first of all, if we could just dig around a little bit about your kind of entrepreneurial journey. So how have you arrived here?
Yeah. So at 12 years old, I started my first dog walking business. I was actually homeschooled at the time, so I didn't go to school. So I found a need that a lot of people went to work and they didn't have anything for the dogs. So at noon, I would go over to people's houses and let their dogs out. And for my age, I made quite a bit of money nowadays that it looks like pennies, but it was well worth it. And so started there and realized like, man, this is kind of fun, kind of doing my own thing and kind of getting to innovate a little bit more. And so I went to college here in Oklahoma at a local university and started getting my degree in marketing. And so I really found a love for the creative and more of the innovative side of marketing. So, you know, the customer experience piece, the psychology behind what makes people tick, what makes them purchase, all of those things. And so I started my career kind of in that path and have never looked back since.
Wow, brilliant stuff. And what is it that you think people are kind of looking for? What's your sort of psychological take on a lot of what makes people tick?
Well, I think so. It seems like there's this big bridge between small business owners and more of a big corporate feel. And so, you know, these big corporations, they have huge budgets, they have huge staff that, you know, they can dig into channel development or all these multi-chain engagements across marketing where you have 5 people dedicated to just Facebook or just social media. And so as a small business owner, you're trying to manage your finances, your accounting, you're just running your business in general without even selling your product or service. And so there's a big difference between what a small business owner can do and what a corporation can do. And so I think there's a big need for kind of taking those theories from a corporate level and actually using them in a small business environment.
Superb. And do you think that customers, do they observe those differences between SMEs and the kind of corporates? Do they care?
Are you talking about like customers of businesses or small business owners?
From a customer perspective, you know. If I'm a consumer, do consumers in general kind of look at smaller businesses more favorably perhaps these days? Or do you think that it depends on the product?
I think it depends on the product, but I think they do, you know, with all these small business Saturdays and, you know, here in the US, I'm not for sure what they're doing in the UK. If American Express has a big presence there, but they're doing a huge small business push. The small business movement, I believe, is what they're calling it. And so they're really heavily pushing into that. So I think consumers they want to support small businesses, but I think the visibility is not there as much as needed for a small business owner. And so people are searching for small businesses, but small businesses don't have the resources or the capability sometimes to reach the audience that they need to.
Got it. And what do you think is the kind of core, when you look around at kind of all the channels, you know, social media, websites, things like that, what really should people be putting out there as entrepreneurs, as small business owners right now?
I really think it's a balance of everything. I mean, I don't think you might find a channel or an audience that you can tap into on a certain channel, but I think the biggest piece is just kind of being, you know, having a healthy reach on everything. So, you know, not leveraging too much on Facebook, let's say, and not having a website, but having a website, having a healthy, you know, Facebook presence, getting on different channels that you can get on. But the one thing I noticed that small business owners do a lot, and I found myself guilty of this as I started, is you get into these things too quick. So, you know, you hear about TikTok and I've got to get on TikTok as soon as possible. And one of two things happen. Either you get on TikTok and you forget about Facebook, you don't update your website, you don't do anything, and you're just so reliant on TikTok that you look back and you go, I haven't posted on Facebook in 3 months and my website is old. Or people start a TikTok. TikTok's the easiest example because I've seen it so many times. And they started TikTok, and then 2 weeks later, they maybe posted, let's say, 5 videos. They've invested all this time, and then they stop because they don't have the time. They don't know what to build anymore. So there's like 2 different situations that happen.
Yeah, got it. And I guess with the kind of TikTok thing, yeah, people expect that sort of instant, you know, uptake, and, you know, put all this effort in and there's nothing coming back. So let's go do something.
Yes, exactly. And so that's where, you know, you've got to have a healthy balance of as a business owner, I'm sure you've experienced this too as an entrepreneur and everything. There's so much you want to do, but you have to make sure you execute on them properly and get everything set up in order to where you can kind of flow properly.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that execution is a big thing around here. I mean, we absolutely, it's all very well having the ideas, all very well putting stuff together, but you've just got to be really, really smart how you get it out there. Do you think, because again, it's another kind of word that's thrown around quite a lot these days, sort of authenticity side of things, how, is that important? And if it is, how do you display it?
I really think marketers have kind of killed the authenticity. I don't know how many ads you've seen or how many times you've gotten hit up, but I can't tell you how many times I've been hit up by entrepreneurs in my LinkedIn or on Facebook ads that here's how I scaled an agency from $0 to 10,000 in the next 60 days, and I can help you. And so a lot of these people, they've developed maybe some sort of real story with a little bit of lies in there or some sort of twist. And so I'm seeing from a consumer perspective, a lot of consumers are they're expecting to be lied to. And so there's a balance between this authenticity where people can see your story and they know, like, and trust you. But then there's that kind of balance of, they think you're lying, or they're looking for, where are you lying in the story? And so I think authenticity is hard nowadays because so many people are authentic and we're realizing that they're not.
They're not, and it's really difficult, right? Because, we always talk about kind of sales is trust, right? If you don't trust them, if you don't believe that this thing is going to do what you are told it is going to do, you're not going to buy it in the end, right? Because you just know it's going to fail. So how do you build that trust then? If so many people who have gone before have essentially kind of made everybody so cynical.
I think there's a level of, and it's something that everyone struggles with sometimes, but
the magic one, right?
Yes, exactly. But under promising and over delivering, I think, is such a key thing. And so whether that's, a business that's a restaurant, a business that's a service, having that first reaction or experience when that customer comes through the door or comes online, whatever that looks like, and giving them the best experience possible and starting off that relationship as best as possible, I think that's key, because we've seen within our business model, we work heavily off referrals. And so we believe that if we're treating our customers right, they're going to trust, like, and know us. And so that translates into, when they're in conversations with friends, who do you know that does this? Or what do you know about this? When you have that existing relationship already set up and they've had some great experiences already, you've already kind of bridged that gap between the trust, because someone they trust and know and like follows them and comes to you and talks to you. And so I think it all depends on that first interaction that someone has with your business.
And that's such great advice, because if you are developing a kind of name for yourself as somebody or a business that can really deliver, but you're not over promising, I think that's so valuable. And then the social proof kicks in, and then you're getting those reviews, and you're getting the kind of the word of mouth. I mean, reviews themselves are a little bit kind of they're a bit tarnished as well, aren't they, with so many fakes out there? But yeah, it's that people that like and trust, as you say, who are giving that referral and that personal kind of recommendation that really makes a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it. Now, listen, what we'd like to do is we'd like to kind of throw a few kind of quick fire questions at you for every guest that we get here. So I wonder, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received in business?
I've always learned to value my time and my knowledge. And so it's something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I struggled with it, I still do actually, is valuing your knowledge, your experience, your education, and what you can provide to someone, and not devaluing it. Because, there's a lot of people that within our own space, I'm sure you're seeing this too, it's kind of a race to the bottom. So who can do the cheapest, who can do, the most for the least amount of money. But what I've found is, when you get into situations where you're devaluing yourself and not charging enough, your level of service is not going to be there. And so it's this balance of, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, identifying your price points, identifying what value you can provide within reason, and sticking to that, because I did not. And a business owner that I knew that was very experienced gave me that advice of, do not give up, don't give discounts, don't do this. And I wish I'd listened to him a little bit better, but I'm learning that that's a really valuable piece of advice that I should have listened to earlier. That's
so good, but you're right. Sometimes you've got to kind of learn it yourself as well, right? If people can tell you as many times as you want, but at the end of the day, you're like, I need this deal and I need to make this kind of happen, and that's when you get caught in the pricing side of things. So,
I I think there is a healthy balance. Like you can't jump out and be, oh, I think I'm worth X and it's way above market price for what I think there is a balance between giving discounts in the very beginning or working with people, but I think it's as you build up that experience that it's just essential to not let yourself do that.
Yeah, I think that's so valid. What do you think when you look around at kind of people who have kind of come before? Is there anybody you've got as sort of like an inspiration to you, somebody who's a bit of an icon?
Anybody I really like. Are you familiar with Jim Collins?
Yes, Good to Great.
Yes, Good to Great. And then there's another book that he wrote, Built to Last, that I'm currently reading, and I think it is key for business owners to he writes in such a way that he inspires you to like innovate and think about outside of the box about your business in general. But then at the same time, he really pushes into the data and analytics behind certain things. And he doesn't they're using these studies from these corporate levels. And so it's not like, oh, well, I think you should do X in your business. He's using proven results that are seen within business. And he's well known. He's built these great corporations from these studies. And I think the knowledge that I've learned from him, he's been a huge help to me. So he's been a huge thought leader in my mind.
Yeah, but he's brilliant. And then during the pandemic, there was a moment where randomly, like on YouTube, suddenly you get all these recommendations, and there was a recommendation, and it's just him for like 20 minutes or half an hour, just chatting away, and it's so important. So yeah, I'd highly recommend. I completely agree. I think Jim Collins is great. I know you're enjoying what he's written right now, but yeah, do have a look at his videos as well. They're really good.
Do you have any recommendations? Who's your favorite? Do you have any good recommendations?
Do you know what I mean? So I go back a little while. So one of the people that got me kind of first into all of this was Ryan Holiday. I don't know if you've ever come across him. Yeah, love his work. Things like Ego is the Enemy, Obstacle is the Way. Really great books. And he does things like he's got this kind of Daily Stoic website, which is great. Got daily tips in it and stuff like that. And that for me, that just really helps you kind of keep a focus on what's important. At the end of the day, you can have ups and downs in days and all that sort of stuff, but really, do you know what? Overall, you just got to kind of keep on doing what you're doing, keep being as true and honest with yourself and with everybody else as you can be, and keep an eye on, what's the purpose here. So yeah, no,
that's awesome.
Ryan Holiday is somebody I would really have a look at if you haven't as yet, for sure. Yeah. One of the things I'd always love to know is if you were to go back in time and to, when you were starting out, what do you wish you had known then that you know now?
Oh, I think for me specifically, I've trusted people a little bit too much. And so I was maybe a little naive when I started. So maybe being a little bit more flexible on working with people that didn't respect my time or my abilities or my pricing. And so there's a lot of lessons learned from invoices not being paid to, never getting that money to, having kind of those moments of what am I doing here? And so I think if I'd gone back in time, I would have set up proper contracts in place, get the actual legal side done, and then make sure I set up a system that I can follow that protects me and protects the other person. So you can hold each other to certain expectations or certain timeframes. So for me, it was more of the getting everything set up and not being too nice and actually following through, because the one thing I've learned, and it relates back to what we talked about, but these people are hiring you for a service that you provide. And so if you've explained in detail what you can do and you've been honest and, true about what you can provide or the services that you can provide, if someone's agreed to that, they should pay you and they should make sure that it's timely. And so that's one of the things that it's hard as a business owner, because you don't want to make someone mad. And so you do these things and then you realize, like, if I'm not getting paid, this doesn't affect just them. This affects me and my family, because we need to eat still. We need to make sure all the bills are covered. And so we can't let someone else affect our business or our family, and it's tough to think about, though.
It really is. And do you know what? That is something that people don't tend to talk about, but it's so important to talk about, because, actually when you get a new client on, you know some stuff about them, but do you really know them? So there is a big thing, and we spend a lot of time here with clients, is actually getting that contract in place, so it's, getting that template, however it is, almost just the act of having it there and showing it to somebody and getting them to look at it and sign it, just they know you're serious. And then there is another one as well that we kind of work on, which is, can you get them to pay a bit of it up front? Even just that kind of habit of getting them to pay something, and if they're not willing to do it, then why not as well, is another kind of big question. But again, thank you for sharing that. I think it's something for many entrepreneurs that's a real challenge, where particularly when you're doing something so personal, something that is with consultancy, it's difficult.
And something that we just moved over, I mean, it's sad, but 4 years in, something that we just moved over about 2 months ago is we started doing reoccurring invoices. And so we found a software that allows us to save a credit card and automatically bill like a subscription payment for that month. And so for us, something that really helped our cash flow is, because we have a lot of ad spend going out, we bill net 30 for that. And so there's a lot of money coming in and a lot of money coming out. And so you realize as money's going out and money's not coming in, sometimes you go, holy cow, I need to fix this. And so, I was I've got a buddy that kind of coaches me through some things. And so we were talking and he goes, why don't you ask for money, like just automatically bill them every month, and you have it in your contracts and just make sure that they know what they're getting, but, automatically bill them.
Yeah.
It has dramatically increased our cash flow and our net 30. And so, within, we used to have, 30% of our revenue out past net 30 that wasn't collected yet. And we've moved to 99% of our clients are on reoccurring invoices, and we get that cash flow on the first of the month. And so it's a whole game changer when you actually like value yourself and do those things that, it kind of feels weird. Like, should I bill these people automatically? I feel like I'm taking their money, all these different thoughts that go through your head. And when you do it, you're like, why didn't I do this 2 years ago? Why didn't I do this 3 years ago?
those sleepless nights are gone as well, right?
Yeah. Because, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but there is nights when, it'd be like the 31st of the month, we're fine. But at the same time, you're like, I've got to make sure my family is still covered. And so you're sitting there and you wake up the next morning, you're like, okay, I'm going to send it. I'm going to really be hard. And so the next morning you wake up, maybe you text or email a client, say, hey, just want to let you know, I noticed I made up excuses. My accountant said that, the lady that sends my invoices said that you haven't paid yet, even though I'm the one sending invoices. Yeah. And then you have those awkward conversations of either they're like, oh, we'll get you paid in next week, or, hey, sorry, we don't have the money. And then you're like, you don't have the money. When are you going to pay me? And so all these thoughts go in your head. Yep. And then you're like, do I need to take this out of my revenue model? Can they never pay again? And then they get caught up, and then you go back to the cycle. So it's this continuing, like you mentioned, up and down the hills and valleys that.
Man, and it's just so exhausting, isn't it? It's admin heavy, it's emotionally draining. And if you can just get them on that recurring payment. So which system are you using, just so the guys could?
We're using a company called FreshBooks. So I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're a really phenomenal company. We've loved doing. They're replacing QuickBooks for us, and so they can do the accounting side, and then they also do the invoice side. And something that we really liked is, if the higher plan you get on, you'll work with an account manager. And so depending on what reoccurring revenue you have coming in, they'll analyze it over a 3-month period and give you a better payment processing rate if you're using credit cards. And so you pay a little bit more in monthly, but then they show you, you save an extra $1,000 a year by paying $30 a year in extra fees for a lower payment processing rate. So they're really awesome.
That's top tips. Thanks, Caleb. Really, really useful. Thank you. So listen, what's next for you guys? What are you up to? What are you looking at for the rest of the year?
So we're really looking to expand our product offerings. And so something that we've been working on is we've kind of acquired a couple bigger clients that we've been working with, some international companies. And so that's kind of helped us level up our game a little bit when it comes to serving our small business clients, because we have a model of make sure the corporate clients pay what we're worth. And then the small business clients, since we got our bills paid and we've got more covered, we have a little bit more flexibility within a small business environment to help them out. And so we can, pull service offerings that we would provide to a larger client at a lower cost to small business owners. And so what we've really been focusing on Q4 is looking at what we provide, the price points that we provide them at, making sure that A, it's fair and reasonable, and 2, making sure that we have the full all-around package to make sure that we're serving our clients to the best of our abilities. We've set up client portals for our clients. We've had a couple different service providers that we've used before. And recently we just switched to a really awesome service provider that pulls in all of the ad platforms that we use, all of the social channels, Google Analytics. And what it does is it allows us to consolidate all of the data that we've got for our clients and
Right.
gives them one dashboard that they can look at for all the analytics. And so we can customize it to them. So they don't have to go to Facebook. They don't have to go to Google Ads. They don't have to go to Nextdoor, Pinterest, all these different ad platforms. And they can go to one spot and check it out and see how it's going. And
Wow.
so we're really trying, we have this mission statement of empowering business owners to make marketing simple and not complex and not expensive and not crazy. And so our goal is to provide the best customer service experience possible. And so we're always trying to find new ways that we can, give that experience.
Yeah, listen, we can tell that's a real core to who you are and your business kind of ethos. So congratulations on that. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your tips and all of that with us. It's been really great to catch up.
Yeah, Mal, thank you again for the time.
Oh, genuine pleasure. Now listen, there's going to be people out there who want to know more about how to get in touch. Where should they go?
If they want to connect with me on LinkedIn, my LinkedIn is Caleb Roche, CalebRoche. They can find, connect. I love meeting new people, talking with them, getting new ideas. I don't know everything in the world and I'll never know it. So more things that I can learn or anything like that, I love. And then if they're interested in, we do a free strategy session with any business owner. It's no sales, no pressure at all. We get on a call with them and kind of walk them through what they're doing in marketing right now and give them ways that they can maybe improve that without us providing some sort of solution. Obviously, if they're interested in working with us, they can have that conversation, but we don't do any sales or we don't push them towards any direction that would push them towards us. And they can find that on our website, CRocheConsulting.com, CRoche Consulting.com. So if someone wants some help or wants to chat a little bit more about marketing, they can schedule a consultation right there.
Perfect. Okay, that's so generous, and thank you very much indeed for sharing that. I'm sure there'll be people who will be booking that right now. Listen, thank you once more for your time. Really good to catch up.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mel.
Genuine pleasure. Listen, that's all we've got time for this week on the Growth Execution Podcast. Thank you so much for listening in. We'll be back next week with another great entrepreneur sharing their hints, tips, insights on how to build, grow, and scale your business. Until then, have a great growth week, and we'll see you